Alright guys, so here he is, the Retro Wave Marvel Legends Spider-Man figure with a brand new updated body mold. A beautiful figure. I'm really excited to talk about him. I've been looking forward to him for, well, honestly since he was announced. So let's move him to the side. I'll show you this retro packaging he comes with. Very nice backdrop of the city. Very much resembles that classic Spider-Man cartoon. You can see that really cool spelling on the top. Spider-Man, Marvel Comics, really cool imaging, nice artwork. Very nice packaging window here. I love it all. A warning on the bottom, small parts not for children under 3 years. And you see a little Hasbro logo there too. And then you can see my package is kind of split. Mine's a little damaged. It says, bitten by a radioactive spider, Peter Parker now possesses all the arachnid's attributes. He's the amazing Spider-Man. Very cool. You can see some cool retro looking art there of the heads you get. I can swap the heads. Again, some more art at the top there. Just a little tough to see. Spider-Man. And then the other figures in the wave with some warning stuff on the bottom. Some other information. 2020 Hasbro. In Pawtucket, Rhode Island. So, very cool packaging. Let's take a look at the figure's accessories. Okay, so Spidey comes with 2 sets of hands and 2 different heads you can swap out on him. We get 2 thwipping hands, 2 fisted hands, and then 1 head with a really cool pair of eyes here that are very slanted, just straight down towards the nose, and then a pair that are squinty and more like circular and slope nicely. So, very different cool heads, but both eyes are pretty small in the head. So, yeah, 2 thwipping hands here. Both have really nice paintwork, nice line work. I don't really see anything messed up with these hands. For the most part, they look pretty good. If I get that to focus there for you. So I think that looks pretty nice. I like both whipping hands, and they do fit on him really, really well. Very tight in there. They're not loose at all. And then we have the 2 fists here, which both have nice line work. They're very clean. With a nice sculpt. Nice lined hands. You can take a look there. And both of them do fit very nicely into the wrist here. Pop that in there. Not going anywhere. Very nice. And then lastly, we have the 2 different heads that Spider-Man comes with. And obviously, I think most people will probably be displaying him with this head, considering it's like the more normal head. It's not so squinty looking. Very nice work. Looks a lot like the packaging art. Very cool. And that pops on. It actually takes a little bit, but once it's on, it's really on there tight and looks really nice with the body. Very well proportioned. I really, really like that. Very nice. And then we can just pop it off. And it does have like looks like a ball on the bottom and a ball on top and a little peg in between. So it's a really different piece of articulation that you typically don't see in a lot of Marvel Legends figures. And it works really well. The head holds on it very nicely. It doesn't feel like it's going to break or anything. And this head too pops on there very nicely. And again, both heads have really nice line work. Really no paint smudging at all. At least for my figures, I haven't seen anything wrong with this guy so far. So you can pop that off. Goes on very easy. And then I do want to show you a few other things here. So obviously, this guy doesn't come with any heads that have the really wide Spider-Man eyes. So if we're talking about this old pizza Spidey here, you can see that he has the really big, wide, kind of almost like cartoony looking eyes, really. They're kind of funky looking. So we will see how this fits on this ball. I have not put it on there yet, but right now it's really tight. And I mean, it actually doesn't look as bad as I thought it would. I actually don't think it looks terrible. I mean, it's a different shade of red. It's a bit brighter and glossier looking in my opinion. It has like a very more, I mean, I shouldn't say plasticky, but it is much more cartoony looking to me, in my opinion. But it does look decently proportioned with the body. However, I don't know if I picture this head under the mask. Yeah, I'm not sure. But for the most part, it works. So we can pop that off. And then I will show you how this head looks as well. Ooh, that one's being a bit of a bitch. I can't. Okay, I cannot get that on all the way. I mean, it's kind of. There we go. It's on there. And yeah, actually, I think that one looks nicer than its other head. Just because it's slid up more and it's more in action. Doesn't look too bad. Looks like it's pretty nice. And it works for the most part. But I'm sure down the line we will see more Spider-Man figures released with this body mold, with different iterations of the costume and stuff. Now I want to show you two. He doesn't come with any open hands, so this Spider-Man's, the Pizza Spidey does. So if we put those open hands on this figure, they do not fit, like at all. I can't get them to fit anyways. So that does not work, at least from my experience here. And then lastly, I want to show you two other, whoops, I dropped the Green Goblin. Three other heads, okay? So I will show you those right now. Okay, so obviously we get the Peter Parker figure in this wave, and he comes with two really cool heads. The first being this dual kind of head sculpt that really looks nice on this body. That looks absolutely fantastic. It's a great iconic version of his face. You've seen this in a lot of comic books, I'm sure. That split face where it really represents the conflict Peter Parker has in being Spider-Man, and that balance that he struggles with between being Spider-Man and being Peter Parker. You know, who is he? So that's a really cool face to see. The shade of red I feel like is a bit brighter than these head sculpts here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I definitely think it is a little bit brighter. And it definitely has a really classic look, that eye does. Like from the Amazing Fantasy comic books in his first appearance. That's really what it reminds me of. It would be so cool to see an Amazing Fantasy version of Peter Parker from his first appearance. And that's what these head sculpts here, the really squinty eyes, really remind me of, especially that one. So it'd be cool to see that down the line. And then you can pop that off and pop this one on, and that works too. And I do believe we got one from Toy Biz in the Sentinel wave. Was it the Sentinel wave? I believe it was. We got the original first appearance Spider-Man. And I remember I got that from eBay alone, and it broke right away. But that was it was a cool figure, and we got him re-released actually in that Stan Lee San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, where you could dress him up like Spider-Man, and vice versa. You could switch him out, his clothes and stuff, I believe. And then the other head I was really curious about if it could fit on Peter Parker's body. And this one, I don't know. I didn't expect it to, I guess, but I remember seeing in Dark Avengers Norman Osborn wearing the Spidey costume. And it actually does, but it's a little bit loose. But it still looks cool, and it could be cool for comic book art. I really like that. So those are pretty much all the heads you can put on him if you guys want to mess around a bit with it more and test some other stuff out. I don't have the other Peter Parker head sculpts from that Mary Jane Spider-Man 2-pack and the Craven and Spider-Man 2-pack. I do not have that Peter Parker head, so that's kind of a bummer. At least, I mean, I used to, but I ended up selling that version of Parker when I saw this one coming out, just because I like this body mold better, and I'm sure they'll release another symbiote Spider-Man with this body mold. So anyways, we've looked at the accessories, the different parts you can swap out. Let's take a look at this figure. So essentially, this is an updated version of the Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man. Well, not really an updated version of the Pizza Spider-Man, but just Spider-Man in general. We've received some other Spider-Man figures in the past, and we were really in need of a new body mold, in my opinion. This one is just not aged well relative to other Marvel Legends figures that are just better proportioned. This guy, you can see he's a lot thicker than the new one in terms of his body's a lot more bulky, but he's just has better proportioning, where he looks more organic and natural in his movements, where this guy is, I mean, Spider-Man's supposed to be scrawny, but it's almost just unnatural how long and skinny his legs are, how flat his body is, and this dude, he's a weird ass, man. What in the hell is that? Looks very freaking weird. But overall, I mean, he's a cool figure, but the proportions on this new one are just 1,000 times better, as well as the articulation and just overall the paint, in my opinion. I like this color scheme a lot more. But where this guy really kind of almost reminds me of a cartoon, you know? He doesn't really look like he has human proportions, you know? I can't really picture the human under that costume. It just looks kind of weird relative to this guy. It becomes a lot more apparent when you look at this version of Spider-Man. So I'm really glad we got a new updated body mold. And I mean, dude, even the feet on these guys look more natural, where his are more like rounded and his are more pointed and like human looking. Really, I feel like these feet just look really weird and really skinny and flat. They do not look natural at all. I think they just look kind of funky. So, anyways, enough comparing. Let's take a look at this guy. Okay, so this guy does share a body mold with the Superior Spider-Man and the new Sunfire figure. I believe, I don't own him though, and he does share a body mold with this guy. And I'm pretty sure they're exactly the same, except he has a different ab piece for this articulation. The pelvic pieces definitely look longer. His pelvic piece looks different. His pelvic piece looks longer and his looks quite a bit shorter. Aside from that, yeah, the asses definitely have a different sculpt where you can see the costumes kind of stretching between his ass cheeks. So, definitely like the same body mold, but a few different parts. Either way, a really great body mold. So, anyways, just taking a look at this guy, he's really nice looking. He has some really nice paint work on him. There's a little bit of scuffing under my one arm here. You can see I have a bit of scuffing. Under this arm, there's a little bit too. On the back of this arm, we have some scuffing and a messed up red line. There's some paint bleeding. There is a bit of scuffing here on this big spider too. Aside from that, I really don't have any problems with him. I'm not sure about the red pegs. I'm not really a fan of those bright red pegs. I don't like that. They just stand out too much. And this plastic here on the abdomen is a bit of a brighter red than this chest piece here. Taking a look at this red, next to this red, those look like they kind of match. These don't, but these do. It's really kind of a quiet, subtle difference. It's hard to see. Maybe it's hard to see on the camera. But I promise if you get him some nice lighting and you take a peek, you will see there's a difference in the paint there. Aside from that, none of those things really make or break this guy. He's a beautiful figure and you're going to have fun with him. I really don't have a lot of complaints about him. He's everything I could have asked for. He's $20, and for $20, this guy is a lot more fun than your typical $20 figure. He's amazing, actually. He's one of my favorite Marvel Legends in my collection at the moment now. But like I said, aside from those little few problems, some really great paint work, some really nice anatomy. Maybe these shoulders could have been a little bit bigger, but that's just me nitpicking. They could just be the perfect size. I don't know. I guess it matters. Depends on your opinion. But aside from that, I do like this guy a lot. Nice paint work, really nice anatomy. I love the muscles. Very nice work on the sculpt and everything. I don't really see any little imperfections on him that really bother me, to be completely honest. Maybe these lines in the head, like right here, there's a little bit of a spacing, but how picky can you be? Honestly, does anyone really care? Frankly, I don't. It's $20. It's a great figure. The only things I have to complain about, I already talked about, and then I have one problem with the articulation with this head here. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I almost feel like I like the feel of that joint. I love the pivot. It almost feels more natural, but I feel like it could use some retooling. Sorry, I messed up my lighting here. It could use some retooling because it definitely has some major gappage right there, man. I really don't like those gaps where Superior Spider-Man, the Doc Ock Spidey, doesn't really have a terrible gap. It looks more natural, but they look about the same distance up. He definitely looks up a bit farther. But I honestly think I might just like this ball joint in the neck more, that little hinge that's in there. Where this one has a peg with two balls on the end of it that fit into his neck and into his cranium there. So I'm not sure how I feel about it. It allows for some really organic looking articulation and movement in my opinion, but definitely has some gaps in it that kind of ruin that organic feel to it. Aside from that, this swivel really allows for like this really nice organic feel in his posing. You can do all kinds of things with him. His legs almost kind of drop down. Oh wow, they freaking drop down, kind of like how the Mafex Spidey does in a lot of those import figures. They drop down. That's really nice. I like that. I'm not sure how I feel about those big gaps, but it allows for some really wild poses. You can see me just playing with this guy here. He's so much fun, man. I'm just like in a trance. I don't think I ever expected a Marvel Legends figure to be this fantastic. And I mean, who am I kidding? Marvel Legends is easily the best 6-inch action figure line out there today. But these are some really cool poses, man. You can really do a lot of cool stuff. We are lacking wall crawling hands, though. Like I said before, we're lacking some Spidey webbing. We're lacking a Peter Parker head, unless you have the Peter Parker figure. But it would have been nice to get an unmasked head, an updated head, because I don't really like the two-back heads personally. I think they're kind of wide. I really like that longer Peter Parker head. That looks more like the Steve Ditko Peter Parker. More classic to me. I really like that look personally. Especially with this Spidey. God. Is it John Romita or John Romita Jr.? This is how head sculpt definitely resembles his artwork. And I had to look up some pictures because I definitely have seen this before. It's a really iconic looking Spider-Man. This guy, however, to me doesn't look so much like the squinting eyes, but like I said before, he really looks like that amazing fantasy classic Ditko Spidey. He looks so, it's a classic look. And really, I'm not going to display him with this head. If he was a first appearance Spider-Man with that darker kind of bluish black, the darker red tones, I would have easily displayed him with this head. I love that. I would love to see that costume released with the cool Peter Parker head. Maybe with some better glasses too, but it's a very classic looking head, and I do like that, but I would have preferred a different head over this. I would have waited to release this with a more classic looking Spider-Man. But aside from that, this guy is really great. I mean, how can you really complain? All these things I'm talking about are such small things. You almost have to look for problems. When you have to do that with the figure, that's a good thing, considering none are really super visible or evident. The only real evident problem to me that really stands out and makes me go, ooh, I do not like that, is that scuffing. That's a problem for me. The Pizza Spidey had it too. A lot of Marvel Legends figures don't have it, but this guy does, and that is a huge bummer. I don't like that scuffing. But I was kind of expecting it, just looking at him. He's a really glossy kind of paint, and I had a feeling, yeah, it was going to scuff a little. But like I said, the scuffing isn't a huge deal. It's so minor, the scuffing, like it isn't terribly noticeable. So it's not a huge deal. But aside from that, this articulation's really nice. They sculpted it in well. They implemented it really well. This swivel here kind of goes and runs along his rib cage. It looks kind of natural. Looks really cool. I really like how this is more of like a waist crunch. It's not really an ab crunch because it really moves down by his waist, lower abdomen, and works really well. Would have been nice to see some lines going across here, but not a huge deal. It kind of is a big deal personally because a lot of people do pose Spider-Man some really dynamic poses. He's known for it. So it would have been nice to have some more line work going a little bit lower. That's kind of a bummer. On the other side of things though, under here you can see a little bit of paint chipping too, and that blue kind of bleeding through the red. I'm not sure if you can see that on camera, but I definitely have some scuffing there as well. However, I'm surprised there's no scuffing here on these butterfly joints. I'm really happy about that. That worked out really well. I really expected that scuffing to be here. This Pizza Spidey also has the butterfly joints, and those are just kind of rough. He definitely almost looks like he's made of a cheaper plastic than this guy. He feels more flimsy than this guy does. Like I said, more cartoony. But it's easy to see this guy is far more phenomenal. The paint works great. He gives you John Romita vibes. Is it John Romita Sr. or Jr.? I can't remember. Okay, give me a moment. I will pause this video and I'll be back. Okay, so John Romita Jr.'s Spidey definitely has more of a metallic look to his armor, in my opinion. It's definitely more bubbly and glossy looking. So definitely not that version of Spider-Man. But you can see here his dad, I believe, John Romita Sr., definitely that figure resembles him majorly. And then here we have the Ditko Spidey, who you can see this head sculpt resembles him literally to a T. It is not really squinty eyes, it is a Ditko head sculpt. And I'm pretty sure that was likely the intention, considering how striking that resemblance is. And if it was, they did a really good job of it, I think. And like I said, I really like that Ditko head sculpt. However, I would have preferred it on a first appearance body. That's just my opinion. They could have waited and gave me a nice Peter Parker head sculpt. Or hell, even a battle damage head sculpt would be really cool. But, you know, all in time, this is a great body mold. We're seeing its birth, and I think we're going to get a lot more Spider-Man figures with it, probably. I'm sure we will. So anyways, enough about that. Let's talk about the articulation. I told you about this head and neck. It's a little weird. You can see that little slit right in the back of the neck with the gappage, but it does look pretty far back, pretty much straight back, especially if you implement this waist part here. But if you hold it, it doesn't look terribly far. But, well, no, I think it does. But there's a major gap. Looks like his head is floating on his neck. So I'm not a huge fan of that. His head looks down quite a bit. Not bad. And there is a great neck pivot. Beautiful, man. And obviously circles around. The arms go out pretty dang far. And obviously you can move them up too to get that range of motion. They go all the way around and out. And with that butterfly joint, they really go out far, like crazy. It almost looks like he's stopping a train or something. And his arms can go forward really far. Like I said, he can flex on his freaking enemies. And there is a swivel here, double jointed elbows, twist at the wrist, and a hinge here. And that swivel, like I said, that has that nice cut. It looks really beautiful. I think they did a great job with it. So a nice swivel. There is a nice crunch here down by his waist. There's no rotation at the waist, but this really serves as that rotation, and it works. It works well. I don't mind it. Very nice. Then the legs obviously do have that drop. They drop down or slide down. Very nice. I love that. That's a really nice thing they added there. It really allows for a nice range of motion and cool poses. And the legs go forward really far, back. There's a rotation here. There's double jointed knees. And then there's a swivel here at his calf, rotation. Then a hinge here and an ankle pivot. So just for comparison, here we have him next to Norman Osborn, who hopefully many of you end up getting. They're literally pretty much exactly the same height, where I feel like Norman could be a little bit taller personally, but it works. I'd rather have them be the same height than one of them is shorter. So that works for me, fine by me. And here he is next to Peter Parker with this cool head sculpt, and they are exactly the same height. Then here he is next to two other Spider-Men. You can see him next to the Pizza Spidey, the classic, and he's a little bit shorter. The Pizza Spidey's shorter than the new one, so our new Spidey got a little bit taller, and like I said, he looks a lot nicer, obviously. And then this Spider-Man, the Superior Spider-Man, is pretty much exactly the same height as Spidey. So honestly, at the end of the day, would I buy him again? Absolutely. He's $20, dude. That's really, really cheap. You can get him in some crazy cool poses. I do not have any stands right now. My house is a mess. We're redoing the flooring here, so I do not have my typical area where I do reviews, but I just got this guy and I really wanted to get this review out. I really wanted to talk about him because there's a lot going on and there was a lot of hype surrounding him. So I really wanted to bust this out, and it's such a great figure, man. I love it so much. So yeah, I would get it again. He's a 10 out of 10. Absolutely phenomenal. The retro card packaging is so cool alone, and the figures in this wave are just all amazing, and I can't wait to talk about all of them. So thank you guys for watching this. I hope you liked it. I hope I gave you some insight into this figure, and I hope I help influence your decision and swing in the right direction a little bit. He's a really cool figure, and I hope you guys enjoy him too. So hopefully you have him on pre-order, and you're going to be getting him really soon. Otherwise, I'm sure it won't be much longer till he comes out, and you'll get your hands on him too. And feel free to comment below and talk about him and tell me what you're excited. If you have him, tell me what you think of him and how he compares to the Pizza Spidey, or how he compares to the Mayfix Spidey. Obviously, Mayfix Spidey's a lot better, but I think they have some similarities considering they're both just so fun, man. They're so cool to pose, you know? They just have some great articulation. And I think I really like, too, that this guy's a lot beefier than the last one we got. He's a great, great Marvel Legends figure. One of the best. And, you know, like I said in my unboxing video, and if you haven't watched that, go watch that. Because I do unbox this wave. It's on my channel. Came out literally just a few nights ago. So please go watch it. And I said in that video, this whole wave's been amazing. So please do pick this guy up. He's a lot of fun. You will definitely not regret it. So again, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Subscribe, like, comment if you haven't. Hit the notification bell. And stay tuned for more. Go follow me on Instagram. My handle is The Wise Collector. Pretty straightforward. I will be doing giveaways, announcements on there. And I will be posting cool pictures of figures, toy photography. And hopefully I get a new diorama soon. I definitely need an update. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you pick this guy up. I hope if you have him, you're enjoying him. And I hope you like this review. Keep collecting. Peace.